Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. This is Andrew Turner, founder and host of the G&T Sessions podcast. And today we have an amazing guest, Mr. Patrick Powers. Welcome, Patrick. How are you?
Great to be here, Andrew. And actually really good today, despite the grey weather outside. It's quite dark and gloomy.
Grey weather? Where's that then? Oh, you're obviously in the wrong place.
Yeah, I can see with your backer, you're in the right place. That's where I used to live.
I secretly commandeered a private jet just before the end of March, just as Boris was saying, you know, it's going to be a lockdown, and all I could do was fly to a Caribbean island and obviously hide. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I think my microphone is not in the right place. I bet that this is much better.
Yeah, that was much better. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
So,
yep.
Welcome, Patrick.
It's an honor to be here.
So I met you, it's actually quite a few years ago. So I know you've been trucking on your mission for quite a few years, about 6-7 years ago, actually, in London.
Yep.
At one of your amazing meetups. Or meetings, should I say, or community sessions. So for the benefits of the audience, for people who don't know who you are, could you explain what gets you up in the morning? What do you do these days? Who is Patrick Powers?
So what I'm all about is helping entrepreneurs and business owners is really make the journey easier. I started my first business at 21, and it was absolutely just a horrible experience. Nobody in my family wanted to support me or could support me. They didn't have any business experience. And I went bankrupt really quickly. So I swore to myself that I would learn the secrets to success in business, and then I would share it with other people. That's basically what I'm doing. So I'm building the community of entrepreneurs in London, now worldwide, under the name of Founder Nation. But in my day-to-day job, if you will, I'm an influence expert. So it's everything about how you capture attention, build desire, and create trust to get people to take action and buy from you. So I work with a lot of sales funnel work, increasing conversion sales funnels, creating irresistible offers, whether it's the spoken word, whether it's a video pitch, or it's a written sales letter or sales funnel. For me, it's all about word, finding those irresistible words that get the attention of your marketplace and get them to take action.
So the right copy kind of thing.
Yeah. But, we don't say copywriter because lots of people don't know really what a copywriter does.
So I mean, you talked about, a couple of things there. You talked about, the thing I know you from is obviously Entrepreneurs in London, which is a very, very big community. I mean, how many people are you running at now with Entrepreneurs in London?
We just reached 27,500.
Wow.
And it's the second biggest business meetup group in the world.
Oh, really? Only the second?
Yeah.
What's the biggest then?
Yeah, I know. It's really bad. It's really bad.
It's like B minus, must try harder. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and we are. So the biggest one is in Silicon Valley, but we're actually gaining on them fairly quickly. They are quite a lot ahead of us. I think there are 37,000 members.
That's not that far ahead, is it?
36, but we are actually gaining quite quickly in them.
Well, I think we should work out a play to pass them in 2020. Everybody leaving Silicon Valley anyway. So I've worked there a few times, and it's nice. It's pleasant, but I think I personally prefer being back in London. Maybe that's because I'm kind of English and Irish kind of thing. I probably feel more at home here. But the London tech scene, London entrepreneur scene, I think is pretty vibrant.
Nice.
But obviously the kind of I suppose the appetite around fundraising and capital raising is a bit different. The kind of the view in the Valley versus the view in UK and Europe is different. But the view of risk. But maybe that's going to change in 2020, 2021. They post this whole pandemic situation. Maybe that's going to see it, because I know that a lot of people in Silicon Valley that I've been talking to at the moment, they're seeing a lot of delaying in decisions for people, for the VCs funding in new ventures. It's going to be pandemic proof, so you could call it. So 27,000 people. That's amazing. So what form does that take then? How are you doing that? I suppose pre the situation we're in now, and then post. What's the plan around that?
Yeah, I gotta admit, I thought that the world would be back to normal really, really quickly. One of the few times it turned out to be wrong, very wrong. So, um, but after a while, I realized, okay, it's not going to go back, and just to continue the community building and to continue to give value, we put on some webinars with some top experts, and we also did a couple of what I call virtual lunches, literally just networking events via Zoom.
Right.
And I had a kind of a break from that because I was focusing on writing my 2 new books.
Okay.
But we're actually launching them again from next week, and then we're going to do them very regularly. I think 2 to 3 times a week.
What, launching the virtual lunches? Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I was due to come to one of those the other week. Actually, I couldn't make it, but I'll definitely come in the future. So you're doing books as well now.
I've already written 3 books, I think 3.5. I can't remember it now because I've also started a lot of them that I haven't finished.
I know that feeling, Patrick.
Yeah, probably have like 6 or 7 unfinished books or something. But I have 2 now coming out. The first one is the new marketing manifesto.
Okay.
And it's all about how irrational marketing is changing everything. Because there's lots of studies on how irrational our decision making actually is, and science has known that for a long time that we are quite irrational. But in the last couple of decades,
the impulse purchase, you mean, or you mean, or
yeah, just making decisions based on emotions that are in like the more we're looking into this last couple of decades, the more we see that we're like the way we make decisions is completely irrational. Like this is completely bonkers, actually. Right. So
sometimes it's not that bad in being bonkers for a little bit of time.
Yeah, sure. But as a marketer, you have to know these biases,
these reactions.
Yeah,
the reactions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you are able to
trigger them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're saying one's called the Marketing Manifesto. What's the other one called?
Yeah, the second one I'm not going to share the title because it's a bestseller title. When I came up with it,
I thought I was going to get an exclusive on today's podcast about that.
Not yet. when I got a publisher and whatever they say, if I can announce it, then I'll announce it. But it's basically about how to create connections really, really quickly.
Okay. So how to build rapport and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But in a very
you're good. I mean, you're good at that. I mean, the sessions I've seen with you, you love the mic, you love the stage, you love performing. I mean, obviously, I don't know if your backstory, if you've improved over time. Are you saying you don't like that? No, man. I'm just saying when I see you, I know you say you mean to say you're not comfortable with it, but I saw that you know how to handle yourself. You know how to carry yourself.
Comfortable. I've become comfortable with it, and I would say I really like being in front of an audience today. I wouldn't say that I like performing. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Maybe that's where I'm going next. So
what juggling skills and fiery hoops,
something like that.
So I mean, you jump when you started your introduction. You kind of went to your kind of piece around being 21 and having a setback, having what I would call peaks and valleys. Yeah. So, everybody says there's peaks and then there's valleys which doesn't quite go as you want it to do.
Oh my God.
But Patrick, before that, I mean, could you explain to the audience what, you obviously there's 20 odd years before you got to that point in your journey. What's the pen portrait around that? Where did that start?
So again, the first business, I went bankrupt within a year and started to analyze what went wrong, figured out that I was lacking marketing and sales skills. So I started to study that. And that's what led me to this field, because I found myself just studying, just like 24/7, thinking about marketing, studying and reading it.
So you want to master it, basically.
Yeah. And I fell in love with it because my first business was as a psychotherapist and holistic practitioner.
Okay.
And oh wow, marketing is actually about psychology. It's just applied in a different way. And so I fell in love with that and moved forward. But my biggest challenge has always been my lack of self-confidence and my negative self-talk.
Okay.
So there was
you like your mind talk kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was and I didn't have much communication skills either, right? So I had no clue how to be around people. I was very shy. I was extremely overweight when I was a kid. And actually I've been extremely overweight until about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And because of that, I got
I've always seen you as a slim Patrick.
Really? Okay, then. Well, you haven't.
Slim athletic.
Have you actually seen my before picture?
No.
Holy moly! You're gonna
All
have
right.
a shot.
You're
I
gonna
lost.
you
I
send me
lost
that afterwards.
about 11 stone, 160 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got bullied a lot, and because of that, I didn't really like people when I was young. But at some point, I realized, look, this is not who I have to be for the rest of my life.
Mm.
I want to become more confident. So I started to grow and focus on personal development.
Mm.
After my first bankruptcy, I just kept on going forward, starting some part-time businesses from home,
Right.
which didn't work. Started another one. And then after about 14, 15 failed attempts, I started a business in 2003, which more or less became an overnight sensation. I became the biggest distributor in a network marketing company called Manatech, in the biggest distributor in Europe.
Okay.
And retired at the age of 36.
And what was that? What were you distributing?
So there was supplements, more specifically something called glyconutrients, which is a very highly specialized supplement that increases cell-to-cell communication.
Okay.
So
it was a bit like I don't want to say pyramid selling, but MLM kind of scheme.
Yeah, an MLM. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Built a team of 10,000 people in 2 years.
Wow.
Retired, became very, very lazy. Sold that organization, and then things went really, really bad. Really, really.
So you have had you've had some highs and some kind of peaks and valleys.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So after that, I sold it. I moved to Dominican Republic, and thought I was going to be selling training and coaching and mentoring and all that kind of stuff. Mostly via webinars, and then also delivering it via webinars. The problem was that the infrastructure in Dominican Republic is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So power goes several times a day.
Yeah, the whole island goes, I presume. Yeah.
Yeah, and incident speeds are incredibly low. So I found myself in the middle of a webinar that I paid money to drive people to, and then suddenly the power went, and it's like, okay, well, this is obviously not working. I had a friend actually bail me out because I was completely running out of money. Came back to the UK and restarted my life here, and that was in 2009. And then relatively quickly. It didn't feel that way, but within 3 years, we're the biggest business meetup group in London. Mm-hmm. But I was still struggling. But we became the biggest in Europe, actually. Kept on growing, just one step after the other, and now we're the second biggest in the world.
I've always known you as the biggest in London. Yeah.
Sure.
So which is, you've maintained that position for, I presume, is it over a decade now? Is that right?
Well, we started
just under a decade.
We started 11 years ago.
Right.
After 4 years, we became the biggest. I think it was
Wow.
almost 4 years actually. So yeah, for the last 7 years, we've not only maintained it, but we've grown. We've overtaken more and more people.
But you see, because the thing, my observation with that was because you think about the entrepreneurial spirit, and obviously you're a living persona of that. You've actually been through the highs and the peaks and the valleys, which is all that part of that entrepreneurial journey. So you can talk from authenticity about even just on the stuff you mentioned before about where you were before, the things you've been challenged with, etc., etc. So.
Sure.
I think, and because you're very open in your way you communicate, then I think people buy into that, and that's why they join the journey with you, I suppose.
Yeah,
that's my observation.
I have a very, very high standard. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
Right.
Which in some ways have hindered my growth for sure. It's never really a good idea in most industries to be a perfectionist. But it also has allowed me to set a very, very high standard of the events that we're running, and the speakers that we have on, because most events out there. And that was one of the things that when I was looking around at what was happening, when I decided I'm going to start a meetup group, I looked around and saw what is out there, how they're operating, how can I separate myself from that? And there was two things that stood out to me right away. First of all, networking events in London are dead boring. They're so boring. And I'm like, why doesn't anyone come up with a less boring?
You mean more of a hook? You mean about the topic, or actually about how you run the meeting itself?
All of it.
Both. Oh, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
it was just so
was like
boring.
death.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it was like dead. Yeah.
The second thing I saw is that the speakers that they put on in most of the cases were really, really bad. Sorry, all the speakers out there, but it's like, oh my God, what I felt is that this was a complete waste of time for me to go there, right? Whether it was free and it cost £10, it wasn't really the issue. The issue is that I wasted a night. I wasted a night of my life on a boring, irrelevant.
Well, that's the thing about what you're highlighting there is a bit about how you curate. As the organizer, how you curate and how you work out how you design the meeting to be engaging and sticky, and value, is that? Hello.
Yep, I'm here. I'm back.
Yeah. So what I was just going to say was that it's the way you design the meetup. From the initial communication and promoting it to actually what you run on the meetup, and then how you MC the meetup, how you host it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you're going to think about. You got to think it through the whole thing. It doesn't come together by chance. You've got to design it and think about it.
Definitely, and that was my two big things. Is that we're not going to have boring meetups. We're going to try to make them fun, more personal, more real.
Yeah.
Instead of this stuffy business-like thing that nobody really likes. It's just that they can't seem to get out of it. Right?
Yeah, because it's like a hamster wheel. Yeah.
Because like let's say you meet somebody after the third or the fourth time, all of that facade, all of that business-like stiff upper lip or whatever disappears, right? And so what I wanted to design was something where people can actually get to that the first time they meet.
Right. Okay. So you kind of break the barriers down straight away.
Especially the last year, we really nailed it. Like, I went to a training once, and they were using, it has nothing to do with networking, but they're using a method to break the ice and connecting people with each other. And I was like, wow, that is so powerful. And since we've implemented that, every single event we have people coming up and say that was the best networking event they've ever been to.
And what was that? Can you share the secret source of that? What was the trick?
I can,
what's the hack? Or is it going to be in your future book?
Well, no, it will.
It's under embargo until the release of his next book.
No, I'm very open about sharing.
You have to pay $9.99 to join this podcast episode, or actually 1997. Pay it to a Swiss bank account.
Absolutely. No, so it's a little bit like when I explain it, people are not really going to understand how.
It's fine. I will save it for a future episode.
Yeah.
Or when you've taught me offline, and I'll then share it with the audience later.
No, it's fine. One of the aspects is getting people to greet each other like they're your best friend you haven't seen for a while.
Okay.
Right. That's one of the aspects of it, but that's just the beginning of.
You mean what? Considering social distancing.
Yes, of course, right. So, but I'll tell you, it's really, really magical what happens. Like normally when people go over and greet each other and whatnot, it's just like, hi, how you doing? I'm a blah, blah, blah guy. I'm a web developer, whatever. And it's just so, it doesn't really get people to connect with each other. It's surface stuff. So what we're trying to do is,
let me tell you I'll share my one little secret, right? So when I've run teams before, right? So I said, okay, you get these people together, right? Okay, go around the room and tell the rest of the room something that nobody in the room knows already about you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because then if they've already been in another team, they have to tell something new to that whole team as well and the extended team.
Yeah.
And that always found as an icebreaker was very good. It's very leveling, yeah. And unfortunately, when I was the boss, when I was doing my Tesco stuff, right, they would all find out stories about me, and they go, "Andrew, you need to tell us more stories about you." And I'm going, "No, I'm gonna be excluded from this exercise." No, you can't be excluded. You got to be in the team. So it's quite interesting when you get into that. When if you're a team manager or you're a team leader, then it's very leveling. It's a very good way of grounding people. So anyway, so you're going to say, you're going to give us a little snippet, a little glimpse.
Sure. So it's basically getting people to greet each other like they're your best friend that you haven't seen for a while. And that creates a magical energy in the room because people will go and hug each other. And it's like, it just lifts the whole energy.
Yeah.
and that alone is enough. But then we get them to ask questions of each other that are a little bit deeper, or share something about each other that's a little bit deeper than the regular stuff. So we quicker get them to get to the real them.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, Lewis House talks about the mask, doesn't he? He talks about putting the mask on. People put the mask on.
Yeah, who is that?
How do you, Lewis House? You know Lewis House,
absolutely.
The ex-American footballer or soccer player. No, not footballer.
Oh,
American
I didn't
footballer.
know he was that.
Yeah, he got injured. He was an American footballer, I think. You know, like in the league, and then he got injured, and then he's obviously now inspirational, motivational coach and the School of Greatness. I'm hopefully going to have him on a future episode. And I'm just calling you out, Lewis. You will be on a future episode of the G&T Sessions podcast.
Great.
Calling out to Lewis House, at Lewis House. Boom. So I think it's great because what you're saying is it's about the interaction with the people. It's actually how you win the hearts and minds, how you get people to be authentic, how you get them to open up and build a bond and build a connection.
Yeah. The other thing that blew my mind is how bad people were greeting the attendees at the door. Right? So you think
they were like bouncers, right? What's your name? Are you on the list? No, you're not on the list. You can't come in.
Hello, what's your name? Oh, you're on the list. Okay, welcome. It's like, I'm like, okay. Like, so I get it. Maybe it's because
you should do a dance. You should do a little dance. You know, okay, we're going to do a little dance at the door. Yeah, a little dance.
Look, I've trained my crew now to greet people in a way that they feel really welcome, like really welcome. And they're amazing. Like my team is just amazing now. And we hear this all the time that people say, "Oh, wow, I really felt welcome."
But what you're touching on there, you're touching on the whole, from the first, it's the moments of truth thing. It's like the moments of truth, yeah?
Yep.
Basically, it's the first interaction with your meetup group is wow, yeah? It's like
exactly.
They'll remember, yeah?
Yeah.
And then they go down, sit down, then they start interacting with the people, wow. Then you have the amazing speakers, wow.
Yeah.
Patrick on stage, wow, yeah?
Yeah.
So you got all these wow moments. So they, no wonder, and then people talk, they speak to. I went to this session last night. It was amazing. You must come. Yeah. Then you get the multiplier effect. So that's the. Yeah. But I think it depends on the the context as well as about what the community is like. So I mean, I run a couple of meetup groups in London, not as big as yours. They're just under 4,000 people altogether. A couple of different, but it's more technical teams and more practitioners. So. But getting them to open up and getting them to share, we've been doing some panels recently. The last couple of March and May, we did some interesting panels, and what it did was it really got the interaction going. Yeah, and you have a couple of speakers who were quite outspoken, disruptive, and thought provoking, and then you start to get the dialogue going, and suddenly we ran a session the other week, and it was a 3.5 hour meetup on Zoom webinar.
Wow,
with about 150 people. And,
nice.
I was saying after 3 hours, I said, are you still okay to keep going? Because we've been going at the panel for like 45 minutes. No, keep going. This is a fantastic topic. I'm going, wow, okay. So we finished at like 10:15 at night. We started at 6.
Nice.
I mean, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that really shows that people really liked it when you can't get rid of them.
Well, in the webinar world, because I mean, people are being Zoomed to death at the moment. So if you can create a good vibe, and create good engagement, two-way engagement, rather than just talking to the wall, then that's I think that's goodness, because it also makes you as the host, like as you host the things, it inspires you when you get great feedback about bringing the community together and putting on these sessions. That's what inspires me to do more of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you talked about some of the stuff you've had with your growth story on your personal side, on the business side as well. I suppose talking about the T in the G&T. Yeah, growth and technology, gifted and talented. Gin and tonic. I know you don't drink, so I'm not supposed to mention that. So, in the technology side, I mean, would you consider yourself technology aware? Do you just use technology for what you do, or are you a bit of a geek in quiet, or what's your T? What's the T of Patrick Powers?
Totally handicapped when it comes to technology. Really severely.
I thought you were going to say you were a developer then. You're like a React developer or something.
Okay, no, quite the opposite. But I think I'm becoming better at it. So funny enough, in the early days of the internet, I was actually learning how to make websites, not by coding. I
Mm.
knew a little bit of code to just fix some stuff. And I actually created a website that kind of kicked ass for a while there in Denmark in the skincare industry.
Okay.
But no, tech is not something that is natural to me. I'm becoming much better at it lately because I realized that there's certain things you have to learn, right?
So what are your superpowers in relation to technology now then?
What my superpowers when it comes to technology?
Mm.
None.
Okay. Thank you for your authentic and honest answer to that question, Patrick.
I can tell you what my favorite tools in terms of apps and stuff like that is.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good start.
Maybe was it you that recommended me a Microsoft OneNote?
No,
No,
not guilty.
So,
I would never recommend this anything to do with that company. No, I'm joking.
So I was
using this podcast is not sponsored by Microsoft and will never be. No, I'm joking.
I was using Evernote until recently, and
Evernote's quite good. Yeah,
and I really liked it. And then somebody I did a survey in our Facebook group because I like hearing what kind of apps people are using that are cool and can help
and give you productivity.
Yeah. Oh, Otter is another one. Do you know Otter?
Otter.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an animal.
It is, but it's also an app, Otter.ai. Brilliant app, and we'll come back to that in a second then. Okay. So anyway, somebody mentioned OneNote, and I asked, what's the difference between that and Evernote? He says, oh my God, it's like night and day. Like there's so much difference. And I checked it out, and I cannot tell you how much that has helped my life. It is such an incredible app, piece of software. Just don't use the unless it fixes. Just don't use the app, the mobile app. The OneNote was it 2019 or whatever. You have to use the one from 2016 because the search
2016.
I'm not kidding. The search engine inside the new one is literally broken, right? So if you have like hundreds and hundreds of documents in this note and you do a search, it will actually not come up on finding these documents. Right, which is crazy. I mean, a company like Microsoft.
So they have a 4-year-old version which works better than the latest edition.
It's crazy.
Amazing. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Satya Nadella. Yeah. Look, Satya, stop ringing me. Will you stop ringing me, Satya? I told you that Patrick was going to complain about OneNote.
Yes. So anyway, so Microsoft, if you're listening out there, fix the new one because the old one doesn't have a mobile version.
So my advice to you is switch to G Suite. Oh no, sorry, I didn't say that, did I? Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, do they have like a similar note-taking app?
Yeah, they do. They've got a thing called Notes. It's actually within G Suite.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll check it out.
It's built into Gmail. It's like a sidebar to Gmail. But I don't know. I mean, I use a Mac, and then I have Microsoft, products on my Mac. The Office suite. Like PowerPoint, blah 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 blah. And then I also use G Suite. But then I also use Apple Notes as well for making notes that can be synced with my mobile because I've got an iPhone. Yeah. So I mean, when I think about it, I'm using Apple, Google, Microsoft. Obviously, everybody's got an Amazon account. Yeah. I don't have a Netflix account. That's the only, I think, tech titan I'm not engaged with. And obviously, when you look at your bank account, you go, Google have just taken $8.99 out of your account. Yeah. Microsoft have just taken $7.99 out of your account.
Yeah.
Apple have just taken £26 million out of your account. I mean, it's just amazing. That's the subscription economy.
All those things, they really, really add up, man. So, but anyway, Otter is amazing. So basically,
they're amazing animals as well, but also it sounds like AI, maybe that's artificial intelligence. Is that right?
Yeah, because basically it's I don't know what you call it, but like a transcription app. You talk into it, and it transcribes your words, and it's remarkably precise, like just remarkable. And
what you mean on your phone? Do you use that? Oh.
Yeah, even on your desktop. So on your phone, you talk into it and it transcribes it. You can upload audio files and it transcribes it.
All right. Is it free?
It's free up to 600 minutes a month.
Per month. Okay.
If you talk, and I believe the uploaded audio files, you can upload a maximum of 2 times 40 minutes in the free version. which is still amazing.
So I've come across Fireflies.ai. Have you heard of that one? Fireflies.
No.
So Fireflies is like another transcriber. So you can link it to your diary, yeah.
Yep.
And then it automatically invites, if you've got a diary entry for your email or whatever, it automatically invites itself to your meetings, and it sits on the meeting and transcribes the meeting and also creates an audio file of the meeting.
Nice.
So it's a bit like there's a third person on this meeting. Who's Firefly?
Yeah, that's
but it's very good for making notes and just make sure you don't miss anything if you go into a business meeting.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, technology is just amazing, and I'm using it more and more. I have to at the end to give up and say, okay, I can't do it the old-fashioned way with pen and paper and whatever.
No, but those kind of things we just talked about are actually gifts. They are kind of the productivity hacks. They are helpful. Yeah. Because going back through and trying to, you record something and then you have to go back through the whole time to record it and try and transcribe it yourself, or or pay somebody to transcribe it or whatever. Yeah. I mean, also, I've been doing like editing, or I've been trying to get some. I've got some support recently from some editing people as well, because video editing, audio editing. So I'm gonna say it's my superpower, but you start having to learn that stuff as well. It's not, it's a skill, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think we can all do it. It's just that you need to do a bit more practice at it. That's all.
Yep.
So, I mean, in terms of your thing you mentioned a bit at the beginning about. Obviously, you've got this amazing community with entrepreneurs in London, and then you mentioned this thing I think you called Founder Nation. Mm-hmm. So you said that was kind of like, is that like the next chapter of Entrepreneurs in London? What is Founder Nation?
That's the next chapter.
Okay.
Obviously, we
not
can't
of the book, but of the Patrick Powers story.
Yes. So obviously, we cannot scale Entrepreneurs in London outside of London because of the name. So I've always wanted to have this worldwide tribe. Right. So I'm really into building community and tribe. And I've seen just remarkable results for people when they get together and they start learning from each other, they collaborate. Businesses comes out of that. Personal growth comes out of it. It's just like so many things that comes out of it. So, and I like so believe that if we're going to take the planet or the human race to our next next step, we have to start collaborating more around the world. We have to be connected more and work across boundaries, across race and borders and whatever, right? So I'm super passionate about creating a worldwide tribe of entrepreneurs, and it's called Founder Nation. And so we're building a platform for that, and hope we will going to be able to launch it in the next, I would say, 4 to 5 months.
Okay,
super psyched about that.
So I don't know if do you know London Real?
Yep.
You know Brian Rose, yeah?
Yeah. I know him. Met him a couple of times. Might even get on his podcast here soon. I have somebody who says.
Oh right, okay. I can help you with that actually, because I know him very well. I was in the chair with him 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
In his studio, yeah, because I did one of his accelerators.
Okay. Wow.
And the reason I do this podcast actually is based on some work I did in mid 2018 with him around podcasting, because obviously he the stuff he did with Joe Rogan gave birth to his podcast, London Real. He did 9 years ago, and obviously then he created a kind of a boot camp around how to the tips and tricks and how to build a podcast community and build it as a brand. So that was my. So you could say I'm the I don't know. I've been spawned from that kind of
amazing,
that heritage.
Yeah. And we're definitely also doing that. We're building a podcast show for sure. The plan is you're going to interview tons and tons of amazing entrepreneurs. We're already starting. And we're going to be interviewing both here on Zoom but also in the real world, just like London Real. We're going to do some real.
Well, no, I mean the thing I was mentioning about the London Real ones, because that's got a kind of a city moniker to it, and what's happened with that is some other people have then taken and created American Real. They've created other reels around the world.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know. No.
Yeah, there's a big community around that. There's some guys in the US and various other countries around the world, cities around the world, done something like X, Y, Z Real. Yeah, as a kind of a extension of that. It's not. I mean, it's not. There's obviously a heritage with Brian, but I suppose one of the things I was going to say to you is I wasn't sure if you is your idea to have, the analogy of placing a flag. So placing a founder nation flag in every city and country in the world. Is that your vision? What's the big?
Yes.
What's the BHAG, the big hairy audacious goal?
Because here's what I think. Like, it's great that you have these online communities, and lots of them that are actually not really communities. Let's say LinkedIn is not a community; it's just a platform, right? I want to create this community feeling, but I don't believe you get a real community feeling. There are places online that calls themselves, but you're not going to get a real community feeling unless you give people the opportunity to meet in the real world.
So it's like the physical versus the virtual kind of thing. It's like, how do you get the best of both worlds?
Exactly. We want to combine both, because obviously having it virtually, online, allows you to scale on a big scale and then reach areas of the world you wouldn't be otherwise. But it's the real events. That's where the magic really happens, and you solidify the relationship with everyone, and everyone gets to know each other. That's where the magic happens, and that's what we want to do. And obviously, having the online platform can help us identify where we're growing really strong. Where there's a lot of members, to say, okay, well, let's say now that we are 5,000 members in this place, let's open, or even less than that. I guess when we're around 500, actually, we would open a real meetup.
Oh, okay.
And we'll just reach out to the members and ask them.
So you could say that you're the founder of Founder Nation. Is that the kind of?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
and where are you on your launch trajectory? So are you at the kind of idea stage? Are you at the funding stage? Are you at the, are you post-launch, or are you kind of just building to a launch?
Funding stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've already talked about Founder Nation already. So you've kind of conceived the concept, and you're doing some stuff around the concept.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have the Founder Nation group. I actually wanted to I was so excited about the name. It just made more sense than Entrepreneurs in London for me. It sounded cooler. Okay. It had a bigger vision. So I wanted to change right away. But I found that there was a strong relationship to the old name. There was like a lot of loyalty.
Like an affiliation.
There was really strong brand loyalty. And I found that people were like, no, what is this Founder Nation about? And it's like, no, we don't want to get away from Entrepreneurs in London. It's the same thing. It's just a new name, and it's
right.
But anyway, because
it's a bit like Founder Nation London edition.
Yeah. So now we're saying Entrepreneurs in London in partnership with Founder Nation.
Okay. And then you switch it at some point.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to run the Entrepreneurs in London meetup group at least until we are the number one in the world. And
it should be very soon, Patrick.
I think, especially with funding, it's going to happen very, very quickly, right? Because I've grown it now without funding, and in the first few years, I was like so ridiculous.
I feel honored that I was there with you before you became number one. Yeah, yeah, and then you stay at number one. You just pull away from the whole of the pack. Yeah, and I'm there with 4,000 or 5,000 in my couple of minutes, and going, Patrick, don't leave me behind. Patrick.
Sometimes I can't really believe it, Andrew, because I remember in the beginning, I was looking at other meetup groups that had about 4,300 members. And I was like, oh my God, that is so amazing to have 4,300 members. I wish I ever could get to that level. And then one day I just passed them and just went right by them, like, boom. Right. And it was
one of my very good friends, she's in the tech, she's Dutch, and she's in the tech space. And we bump into each other, and we do various silly things on Twitter when we're together. She's called Dominique, and she has worked for she's worked for some very interesting tech companies. And she runs multiple tech companies. She runs her community about just over 10,000 people in London. Mm-hmm. And literally she has her own hashtag, which is it's like done by Dom. Basically means, because she's got such a reputation in running meetups, and they run so smoothly, yeah, that all the other organizers are ringing up, Dom, can you please help me with my meetup? Because your meetups are amazing.
Oh, okay.
Dom, can you please ring me up? Can you please come and help me? Please come and help me.
Yeah.
Dom, please come and help me. Please come. It's quite funny. So she's going to be a future guest on my podcast, because she's just hilarious and just very good value. So
Nice.
there are other, I would call you organizer glitterati. Yeah. Yeah. No, because you worked out a combination of
Yeah.
those little, all the different. It's not just one dimension. It's not one characteristic. It's complex. It's how you
Definitely.
how you put it together. You have to put some
Yeah, and I think,
you have to put some character into it. You know, that's what you.
yeah, I think it's a combination of two things that's really made it there, and it's my combination of my copywriting skills. You know, that's my specialty is copywriting in getting people there, right? And then it's my background from network marketing, where we ran tons and tons of events, and you know, we had to make people feel good at the events to get anybody to buy into what we were doing. So it's a combination of those two things that has created what we are.
Well, I should get you to meet Dominique, so you could have done by DMP, Dom and Pat.
Great, love it. Love collaboration.
Or you could get me involved. It could be then Pad.
Yeah.
Done by Pad. So I mean, you explained obviously the context of you said you're going to build a platform. I mean, obviously that sounds a bit technical, even though you say you say your superpowers are not technical. What does that really mean? Is that like using Facebook to do it, or are you going to host it yourself? You know, how are you?
No, we'll definitely host it ourselves, because I believe in.
You're going to host it off the normal tech titans, and you're not going to put it on a Facebook private Facebook group. Or
no, I mean, obviously we're going to continue to have our Facebook group, but I want to have our own place identity. To
right.
First of all, you know, data is just it's gold, right? You have to have data.
Yeah.
And then how can you learn what people are really about when you don't have the data about what they want, how they interact, what they look at, all that thing, right? You have to have your own.
Another platforms that you can secure to use that, or you can wholesale or something, or manage.
Yeah, so a first investor, he's already having a connection that actually have an app they can plug in into our platform, so we don't have to build it from scratch. There's also something called Mighty Networks, which
that's like the one that Uhubs runs on, isn't it?
Okay, so that I'm looking into that right now, because apparently you can white label it, or you can have it run on your own domain.
Correct.
Looking into that as well. So yeah, at least from the beginning, we're not going to build the community part of it ourselves, but the training platform. So basically, we're going to have lots of different downloadable training programs. Again, what I've seen is the three biggest things that people need in entrepreneur need is they need connections and community. They really need a community to just feel that they will ever get there, because it's so hard to be an entrepreneur, right? And if you get around other entrepreneurs that has been there, they've gone through struggles yourself, it gives you that belief that you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Number two, you've got to have know-how, right? And so some kind of a training.
So knowledge and
mentoring, coaching, right? Training, mentoring, coaching. And then finally you need inspiration. And that's where we get through talks. We'll do it through a podcast with interviews with top entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Consequences. That's basically what we're going to have on a platform, combined with real events in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last event I came on with you was the firewalking one. You know, with Steve. Remember the firewalking?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Oh, the online one, you mean? Oh,
the online one. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. Yeah, firewalking online on Zoom. Yeah.
Have you tried firewalking, by the way?
I haven't. No, that's why I messaged you actually in that session, and that's why I was asking about the details for it, because I think I might. There you go. Look. This is me.
Excellent.
This is me firewalking.
Yeah. It was an excellent seminar. It was not more. It's not a seminar. It was more than a seminar. I think it was 4 days, and I can't reveal all the stuff that we did because it will take the surprise away. But let me tell you, it was a fantastic experience, and some of the stuff that we did was way scarier for me than the firewalk.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
And for other people. So
What you mean when you spent some time with Steve?
Yeah, so 4 days with Steve.
So you want to just call him out? Well, what's Steve's details? Have you got Steve's details?
I think it's firewalk.co.uk.
Because it's a bit like the thing I found quite interesting was obviously because the kind of Tony Robbins thing, you know, where they walk over hot coals or whatever. I've never been to it, but you know, that thing that a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll just find it for you here. Yeah, it's firewalk.co.uk, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it's that.
firewalk.co.uk. Right?
Okay, you heard it here first. Firewalk.co.uk if you want to go firewalking in the UK.
Yes.
If you want to go firewalking somewhere else, then you have to go somewhere else.
Yes. So anyway, it was quite mind-blowing experience. And again, there was way more aspects to it than just the firewalk.
So that's great. No, I mean, so it sounds like Founder Nation's on the way to being known globally. Is it what's your rollout plan in 2021? Are you still working on that? Have you got particular countries or cities you want to go to first, or any thoughts about that?
Not really. As I said, I think we're going to go with wherever we're growing online, where we have a presence.
Okay.
Obviously, it would make sense to do Manchester or Birmingham here in the UK
Okay,
first.
so go more national and then go
Yeah.
international. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
But we're just going to see where does it pop up, and where. Very, very important for me that the people that run it there are going to be great people. We're just not going to open a place unless we have somebody that I'm just super confident that they can do a fantastic job.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting because one of my examples is that one of the groups I run, it's got about 3,000 people in the community in London, and I was talking to some people over the weekend from India, from Mumbai and from Pune on the kind of the sort of the west coast of India. For the same group, they've got about just slightly bigger, 4,000 people currently. But then we talked about the type of person and the kind of interest group in India. There's over 1 million people could be in that group.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these communities, it's just the number. I mean, obviously in India, 1.6 billion people, whatever, but it's just there's over 1 million people that are interested in the topic that we do these groups on. It's just mind blowing, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
So when you next come on, Founder Nation might be 10 million, 20 million, 100 million people in the few years.
Actually, my goal is to build it to at least 5 million in the next 10 years. I was doing some research for the funding pitch.
Yeah.
I found out there's 100 million companies starting a year. 100 million, and totally globally, there's approximately 400 million companies.
Right? Startups.
So about 400 million total companies and 100 million startups a year.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
Mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah. So when I saw that, it's like, holy moly, I'm thinking way too small. We can build it to several million for sure. There's no doubt.
So just a quick question. When you talk about entrepreneurs in London and Founder Nation, is talking about you could be founding or you could be an entrepreneur in any sector, in any discipline. There's no restriction. You don't say it's in a particular sector or it's across the board, and it could be financial services, it could be X, Y, Z, ABC. Yeah, okay.
I like it that way because I love the idea sharing, that you get a perspective from a different industry outside of your own. That actually that perspective is like, oh my God, that we can use that perspective of that idea in our industry. So it's the cross-pollination of ideas between different industries and perspectives. I find that incredibly fascinating.
Yeah,
and I think
there's some things that are common and there's some things that are specific, isn't there? So there's a common theme of probably things that help across all industries about from your entrepreneurial journey. Is that what you're finding, or is that what you found?
Yeah, I mean, for most people, it's all about, I would say, 3 big ones: is mindset, it's sales and marketing, right? And then leadership. Once you get to a little bit, you get to the stage where you actually have to hire people, then it's leadership. Those are the 4 big ones that I see.
So I mean, I suppose one of my thoughts, I suppose, is about predictions. Given. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff recently, but obviously with this whole, reset, you could say, of the economy in the world, there's obviously certain industries that are affected by it. There's obviously certain industries that are blooming, certain industries that have been under pressure. I know you said, I suppose it's back to a point that you're not as comfortable with, but I mean, what's any predictions you've got for the future of in relation to tech? I mean,
yes.
Are you feel positive about it? Tech for good, or are you concerned about it with all the thing about data privacy, fake news? What any views on that?
Yeah, I'm a little bit in the middle. You know, I think tech is wonderful, and it's really helping humanity in many ways. So in general, it's great, but I'm a little bit concerned about AI and the speed with which it's going to transform the world.
Mm.
You know, we might get into a world where most people are just simply not employed,
Yeah.
which is a crazy thought.
Mm.
So how is that going to affect? And I think, you know, long term, we're going to figure it out, and it's going to be a great world, and it's going to be great for us in the long run. But in the medium term, it might be really uncomfortable.
Mm.
Right. So honestly, I don't know. What I do know is that in terms of not maybe quite tech, but it requires tech to get there, so to speak. So we can kind of say this tech is that video marketing. Video marketing
Mm.
is if you don't do video marketing in the future, you're dead. I mean, literally dead, because today it's becoming more and more important to have a personal brand as well. People buy the
Yeah.
people, and
Mm.
people want to see who is behind the brand. And the best way you can do that is belly to belly, right? The problem with that is that you can't
Belly,
scale
belly.
yourself.
Sorry, belly to belly. What's belly to belly? Is that a kind of strange Danish kind of tradition or something?
Are you you don't have an expression in English, belly to belly, eye to
Belly
eye,
to
belly to belly?
belly. Well, you say eye to eye, but maybe not belly to belly. It depends how big your
Okay,
belly is.
maybe that's an
I mean, if you
American
if you if
expression.
you if you got a big belly, I suppose it's a bit easier to do belly to
And
belly.
as I used to. So anyway, so eye to eye, that's the best way. The problem with that, of course, is that you can't be more than one place at a time, and you can't scale yourself, right?
Mm.
So the next best solution is video, and then the third best solution is audio.
Right.
So you know why is it like there's so many aspects of why video is going to be the future. First of all, our brain is kind of obsessed with like only paying attention to things that are moving, right?
Right.
Or different from the environment. So if you think, if like go back
You
10,000
mean you mean
years,
like my background? You mean
say again.
they're paying attention to my background on Zoom?
Well, right now it's not moving,
Yeah,
right?
but I can change that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a good thing if you're actually publishing the videos as well.
See,
So
see,
here's the
this is the kind of background you need.
thing. That's probably a little bit too
It's like
psychedelic
woo,
and distracting.
woo, woo, woo.
It's
Yeah.
too distractive, Andrew. So anyway, imagine you go back 10,000 years and you're in the middle of a field somewhere. Like, what is it that we need to survive to pay attention to? Well, if
Mm-hmm.
nothing moves, if there's no changes in our environment, we don't have to pay attention to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the eye and the brain is really only concerned with things that are different, that stands out. That's one of the reasons why you have to be different in your marketing, because if the brain is seeing something is seen 20 times before, it's really quite uninteresting.
It kind of filters it out, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay attention to it, therefore you don't, right?
Mm.
So video is so compelling because there is movement in it, right?
So when you, I mean, just like you know, I don't know if you know this. I don't know. So when I started this podcast, actually, I just did it on YouTube. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I just did it on video, but then actually this year, I actually then started to, back post all my episodes on audio.
Uh-huh.
And obviously now you get downloads and you get views on audio, Spotify, Apple, etc., etc.
Yep.
So I don't know. Are you saying from your predictions or your recommendations that you should not really bother with audio, or
Not at all. Not at all.
So you
As I
say
said,
still do audio, but do
oh yeah,
video or prioritize video over audio. That's what you say.
absolutely. Because the great thing with audio is that you can do it on the run. You don't have to sit there and pay attention to it, right? So you can do it, and you can turn unproductive time into productive time, and that's going to still continue to grow. It's exploding right now. It's going to continue to grow. So definitely both audio and video.
Right. Okay.
But video marketing is going to be so important. Live video as well.
So no, you've done a few live videos like Facebook Live and StreamYard and things like that. I mean, recently. So
yeah, and it's working really well. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, obviously, you have to be able to be engaging, and that's not something that you just do overnight. There's something that's taken me a long time to learn.
You put your pixie dust on.
Well, so
you go alakazam. Ding.
I wish it was that easy, man. If I had that, I would be
I'll send you some over. Don't worry.
I would probably be a trillionaire if I could just have that pixie dust and just
the pad pixie dust. Yeah, the pad pixie dust. Yeah. the PA pixie dust. No, but the other thing you mentioned there as well was actually your personal brand. So obviously, you are synonymous. You are associated, affiliated. You are the creator. Yeah, you are the man. Yeah, behind the icon, behind Entrepreneurs in London. Yeah, when everybody thinks about Entrepreneurs in London, they think Patrick. Yeah, when what you're saying is you're building the founder nation, think Patrick, Mr. Powers. Yeah, not Austin Powers, Patrick Powers. Yeah.
Yes.
So I suppose the question you said about personal brand. What was any comments on personal brand? What's your view on personal brand? Do you think that's getting more increasingly important in the future?
Yeah, totally. Again, because people want to know. I mean, people don't really trust brands anymore like they used to.
Right.
They trust people. That's why I see. Would Apple be today what they are without Steve Jobs? Or if he's kept in the background, if there is nobody from
Apple. The thing is with Apple now, you see there's Steve Jobs and then there's Johnny Ive, and I think Johnny Ive's now left, haven't they, as well? So you've got Tim Cook, obviously, which he's not the same character as Steve Jobs. He's more of an operator than a marketeer, you could say. But I suppose Steve built the platform, Steve built the brand, and they're just executing on the back of that, aren't they?
Yeah. So you see, Trump. I mean, he wouldn't be the president today unless he had been on that. What was it? The Apprentice. Right. I mean,
really?
I think
you mean he was one of the he was one of the ones in front of the panel to be.
No, he was running The Apprentice in the U.S.
No, I'm joking. I was joking. I was being facetious then. Okay. You're fired. You're out. You're fired. No, sorry. No, but I'm Donald Trump. He can't fire me. I'm Donald Trump. He can't fire me. Yeah.
No, he wouldn't be the president today unless he had been on that show. That's no doubt about it.
What you're saying from an awareness point of view of who is this guy? You mean that's where he got the mass appeal and mass knowledge or mass awareness?
See, this is one of the problems I think people make in marketing. They think it's all about awareness. I hear that all the time. People come and ask me, Patrick, how do you get your name out there? It's not. I mean, it drives me effing nuts. I mean, it drives me absolute nuts.
Bleep nuts.
Yes. Yeah. Right?
I'm glad you didn't swear there.
Right. So there basically has to see three stages of marketing that has to fit the size of your company. Right. There's a takeoff, then there's accelerate, and there's dominate. And there's totally different types of marketing that you need to apply in whatever stage that you're in. Most companies are obviously in the takeoff and accelerate phase. And in that phase, if you try to apply philosophies and methods that are used by big business, you will never become a big business. You have to think like a small business or medium-sized business to get to a big business.
Yeah.
Everybody's thinking about how can I get my name out there? It's really not about that. It's about finding a message that is so compelling and getting people to respond and buy. It's not about how many people know about you. It's about how quickly, as a small business, because you don't have
to get them to action.
Exactly. How to get them to act, not to know about you. Doesn't matter you have 1 million people knowing about you. How can you get 10 people?
But you see, what you're talking about there is vanity KPIs, as I would call it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've got 5,000 likes. I've got this. I've got that. But actually, what is the offer? What is the actual call to action? What is the actual thing they're going to do to change their lives? Yeah.
And that requires, to get people to respond, requires a well thought out sales funnel. Where you're giving something not necessarily away for free, but something very, very cheap, something not so scary to begin with, to create familiarity and trust, because that's what it's really about. It's not about how many people know you, it's about how deeply they trust you. And that's why, having had Trump been on television for a long time, people got to trust him, right? Some people got to hate him. I'm in the latter category. I thought he was actually quite cool as an entrepreneur, as a president, I think he's completely bonkers, right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense what he does.
I mean, when I woke up those few years ago in the morning, at 6 a.m. in the morning, and the result came through about Trump, I was going, "Oh my God!" But he's better result than Hillary. I mean, you know, but think about the you know what one of my American friends said. Look, he was a better choice than Hillary, but then obviously as it's developed, then people said, "Oh, you know, how's that playing out?" But then you know that's the problem about the candidates. You know, who are the candidates that are available? And then you know, I woke up and the whole situation with Boris, yeah, and he likes the landslide. So it's like, you know, it's amazing politics, amazing. I'm not saying I'm ever going to go into it or even thinking about that, but maybe that's for some other episode. But no, but that's what I'm saying.
I've been thinking about it, like briefly.
You have?
Yeah, but it's like, it's paid.
Vote PP for the president.
You know what it came about when I moved to Australia for 6 months, right? And it was in Brisbane. I was actually hired to go over there to build meetup groups.
Okay.
With the purpose of generating leads for a business.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we built Entrepreneurs in Brisbane, Entrepreneurs in Sydney, and Melbourne.
Oh, did you? Okay, fantastic.
And we were actually the biggest business meetup group in Brisbane within 3 months. And that's where I lived. And
that's near Surfers Paradise. I've been there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's stunning.
Nice.
And in fact, I'm planning to move to Australia again, hopefully next winter.
Okay.
That's the dream. And then Vancouver Island, Canada over the summer. That's my dream life. Until I get really old, then I'm going to move to Hawaii.
What living with Harry?
What? Harry?
Living with Prince Harry
Does he live in Vancouver Island?
I don't know. I heard he was like hiding in Canada. Maybe he's not.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. But anyway, somebody over there at the meetup in Australia came and said, "Dude, you should run for president here in Australia." And I'm like, what? Like, I'm so anti-political. Right? I don't really like politicians because I don't like that you have to really give up some of your principles to make deals and all that kind of stuff.
You don't have to do that, surely not.
Yeah, well, anyway. so that kind of shocked me. So now I would never be, you know, I don't know anything about politics. I said, you don't have to. Trust me. He says, I'll help you run it. I know politics. You have people.
You can be the front man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He said, people like you. You know, you created the biggest business meetup group in Brisbane in 3 months. I'll run the campaigns for you. And they're like,
it's PPP. It's not a healthcare company.
Patrick Power for president?
Correct. This is it. You heard it. I'm going to go and buy the domain PP. I'm going to ppp.com. I'm going to go and buy it after this episode.
That actually has a ring to it.
It does. It's got three letters. You know, it's like, you know, when you say I'm putting threes up at you. There you go. PPP.
Oh my God!
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you never know.
You see, I was just going to say your thing about your marketing piece. I presume that's coming out in your new book.
Yes.
The Marketing Manifesto.
Yep.
See, yep. I'm even pitching your own book for you. You see. To that, you see how you see I'm like under your spell now.
It's better that you're pitching it for me than I, because if I start pitching for me,
well, the thing is,
myself, then I sound like I'm bragging about it.
I have been working on the book for over a year, and I am trying to get it out in 2020. And now suddenly, as typical, there's a number of other people say they want to get involved in this book as well. So I'm planning to get at least 2 books out in 2020. So there you go. Okay. I'm making a manifestation. I'm making a visualization. Sure.
What are they about, and what kind of experts do you need?
I can't tell you because it's under embargo. I can't tell you. It's a top secret. Yeah.
And you can't tell what experts you need as well?
I can't. It's totally under wraps. Yeah.
Okay.
If I told you, then I'd have to, you know, come and find you. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So in terms of takeaways, I will tell you at a later date.
Yeah. Can I just share one more thing in terms of the future?
Yes.
All right.
Please do.
In 2018, and this is something I've been predicting for years and years, like way before anybody else figured it out. Well, I'm sure that somebody else has figured it out, right? But in 2018, Facebook changed the algorithm to favor Facebook groups over Facebook pages.
Oh, really?
So the content from Facebook groups are getting way more pushed out
powerful
than Facebook pages. Why? Well, because Facebook have data, and they've been running data for years and figured out that the people that are in groups
are more engaged,
way more engaged,
share
and
more,
loyal. They're loyal. They come back.
It's a loyalty driver. Yeah.
And I've been telling for years and years, the next stage of marketing is building communities, not just pushing stuff out there and two-way communication. It's three-way and multiple-way communication.
But the thing is also, you see, what they want to do is they want to keep people on the platform. Which is why I was asking you about, are you going to be on the Tech Titans platforms? Are you going to create something off platform?
We're going to create something off platform.
No. I hear you.
Yeah. But we also, as I said, we also going to, of course, continue to use our Facebook group.
So my final point, well, one of my final points to you was about you just mentioned a little snippet about Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not in Hawaii now.
Yeah.
One of the tech companies that I'm working with, the actual product was conceived by the founder and CTO while he was on a holiday in Hawaii on Maui. So we're considering actually putting "Made in Hawaii" on the actual website, or give it "Born in Hawaii."
Yeah.
So
I love Maui so much. It's crazy.
Well, I've been to Kauai. You know where they filmed Jurassic Park. I mean, that's amazing place. You love Maui, okay?
Absolutely.
So there you go. In the future, we will be together in Hawaii at some point.
That would be amazing.
That's another topic. Now we can do a podcast episode from the beach in Maui.
Do that. Let's do that. The Americans let me in again. I'm not joking. I had a bit of trouble.
Donald, let the PPP in. He's going to be succeeding you as the next president. So let him in.
Well, I'm not born in the U.S. So that's not going to happen. So apparently, I could run for president in Australia, even though I'm not born there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm part Irish and part English, so I don't know what I can do. Maybe my options are more restricted. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Right. Takeaway. So in terms of given the audience we have on this podcast is different people from tech who are interested in G&T, not just gin and tonic, but obviously growth and technology, and also understanding lessons and takeaways from gifted and talented people like yourself, PPP. So I think I've got on something there, haven't I? So you've been really, really great in sharing some really great stories about what you've been through. I mean, if you were going to pay back or pay forward the learnings from your journey so far, what would be the top things that you would want to share to the audience about some things that they should think about as they embark on their journey?
Yeah. So to first of all, get into community and start building a deep relationship. Don't just, go to a networking event and know some people, but build deep relationships with people. If you have a handful of deep relationships, that can do more for your business than, having 10,000 followers on Facebook or whatever. It's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about building masterminds. So we're going to start our own mastermind relatively soon called Founders Mastermind.
Okay.
And that's, the benefit for me of being in masterminds is just insane. I mean, it's literally insane. So you've got to build deep relationships with people around you that are like you, that can help you, that you can help as well.
Well, it's a classic Jim Rohn quote, isn't it? About the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, and absolutely. And you know what? Science has actually now proved why that is so. And it's because we have a specific set of neurons in our brain called mirror neurons. And they're
called what, sorry?
Mirror, like a mirror.
Oh, mirror neurons. Okay,
mirror,
right. Okay.
Mirror neurons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Their sole function is to copy behavior of people around us. So actually, if you want to outsource, if you really want to grow, you have to decide who you're going to hang around.
Yeah.
There's a book called Willpower is Not Enough, and he's basically, he's providing a very, very strong case for why personal development and change is almost impossible, except if you change your environment. Right? If you change your environment, you automatically
change your future. Change your future. Yeah.
You literally adapt to your environment and adapt to the people around you. So it's get around amazing people, right? Get around amazing people. You must do that. Number 2, thing I want to say is don't quit on your dream. Don't think small. Don't think that you can get there, because what you can do in a couple of years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in terms of your personal development and growth. I mean, I've come from being somebody who was extremely shy and afraid of people and actually not liking people to now I love people. I love speaking on stage. I love being around people. And, you know, my communication skills are great. They used to be unbelievably bad. It's amazing how you can develop.
You kind of blossomed and bloomed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So don't ever think that you can't get your dreams. Just go for it, and you'll feel alive while you're doing.
Well, this is the thing I was going to challenge you. You see, so you said you got a 5 million person target for Founder Nation. I think it should be 50 million at least. Not if not 500 million. What about that?
Okay, that's a little bit. Well, okay,
that's a bit of a stretch. But you know.
No, well, 500 million is not going to happen because, well, again, I'm starting to think negatively. But there's only 400 million companies in the world. So, but anyway.
Yeah, but you've got 7 billion people on the planet, haven't you? So
that is true. That is true.
It's less than 10%.
We could potentially reach 50. That's definitely a target. That's potential.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first on the GNT Sessions podcast. Andrew giving a stretch target to Patrick, the future president of the USA.
That's great. All right, one more. We said 3 things. You want to do?
Well, no, I mean, as many as you want.
Okay.
I'm not going to constrain you.
Okay, so number 3 is you must understand influence. You just must understand influence. And that's the thing. Like when I started my first business, I thought it's all about the idea. I have a great idea. Because of that, people will come and buy from me. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, like looking back at myself now, I'm like, how could I be so stupid? But, you know, I was just ignorant. I was not necessarily stupid. I just didn't know how important.
But is that where, for example, you know, some founders, you know, they build a product or they build a service and then they think that people will just come and buy it?
Yeah.
Is that the same
all
problem?
The time. I hear that all the time. People in the startup phase, the first times, they focus so much on the idea of the business. And also there's another thing to it, and that's that lots of people stop going into business because they think they have to have a brilliant idea. You don't. You really, really don't. You just have to have an idea that is a little bit unique, like just slightly.
Well, that's where you get back into the, the kind of what you call the USP, or look at this. Look, you've probably seen this before.
Yeah, absolutely. I have it in my book.
I don't know who wrote that, but you know,
that's Ash Ali. He was on my Facebook Live the other day. Yes, absolutely. So, I challenge you to walk down the high street, okay? And for the Americans, if there's any Americans listening, that's Main Street, right? I remember my girlfriend, she was an American. Once I had an American girlfriend, and we came to the UK, and we were looking for a certain shop, and we were asking somebody on the street for the way to a certain shop, and they said, "Oh, it's right on the high street." And then after that person left, she was looking around and saying, I don't see any streets that is going upwards. Like.
Oh, you mean like a high street? All right, okay.
You thought it was like a street that was literally high, right? So anyway, so for the American listeners, that's just Main Street, okay? So you walk down the high street, Main Street, and look at the stores there. How many of them are revolutionary, breakthrough, brilliant ideas? Practically, if any, none of them. I mean, it's just none of them. They're ordinary ideas that are just executed a little bit better. They're marketed a little bit better. That's it. You don't need breakthrough ideas to have a very successful business, right? But then when you have an idea, a okay idea, you've got to understand influence in all its aspects. How do you influence a person, like one-to-one? And how to influence the masses, how to get in front of an audience, how to get on a Facebook Live, how do you do a video pitch, and how do you create an irresistible offer, an irresistible message that gets people to respond. You must learn that.
Create the magnetism.
That's it.
Okay,
it's not enough.
You shot me then. No, that's fantastic. I mean, that's as per always, the amount of value that you articulate is always on the high street, on the highway. No, it's great. I mean, thank you very much for your time today. It's been a really good, fascinating journey around the life of Patrick Powers, who is the founder of the second largest, soon to be the largest community in London, and obviously now with his Founder Nation journey and mission, soon to have 50 million people across the world.
That would be amazing.
So you heard it here. You heard it here first. We gave birth to the new target. But all I can say, Patrick, is thank you very much for coming on the episode. Brilliant episode. It's great to see you, and I wish you all the very best in what you're doing with Founder Nation. It sounds an amazing plan.
Thank you so much.
And I'd love to get involved in it as appropriate, because I am a founder of a few different things myself. So let's keep talking. And,
amazing. It was so fun.
In the future, I'll be drinking the gin and tonic, and you can be drinking the water.
That's awesome. Hopefully, I will be drinking alcohol in the future. Because
it's a good discipline. This is water. Actually, I am drinking water here, not the gin and tonic.
Yeah, but anyway, right now I'm not drinking alcohol because of intolerances, but I'm actually fixing my intolerance.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully in the future. Anyway, can I just say one more thing? Go get a free sample of my book, The New Marketing Manifesto, on patrickmpowers.com.
Well, no, I was just going to say, it was how if people want to talk to you, or if there's any founders out there, co-founders that want to talk to you about stuff, how do they get hold of you? How do they get hold of the founder of Founder Nation? Yes,
so easiest places are Facebook and LinkedIn. Just search for Patrick M. Powers, M like in Mary. And obviously our meetup group, Entrepreneurs in London, just meetup.com/Entrepreneurs in London. And then on Facebook, our Facebook group, under groups.
It's called Founder Nation under groups, yeah? You said?
Yeah, just search for Founder Nation.
Have you got a website? Is there a website for Founder Nation yet? Or is that
we have, but it's just a holding page for now. So we have foundernation.co. And again, it's patrickmpowers.com for stuff about me, and then get a free sample of my book.
Fantastic. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on the show, Patrick. Look forward to catching up soon. And that was Patrick Powers, founder of Founder Nation. And this is Andrew Turner, the founder and host of the G&T Sessions podcast. See you all soon. Thank you very much.